All right, I think it's time we get going. If anybody else shows up, they're welcome to come on in. I want to thank you for coming to our webinar on nutrient, trash, sediment in one device. I'm going to be talking about the Hydro DryScreen, the next generation Baffle box. My name is Susan McNamee, and I am a stormwater specialist. I work for Hydro International. I have 20 years in the stormwater industry in water quality, retention, detention systems. My information is my phone number down below, 772-919-5248, and my email address. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Couple things. Let's go over what I'm going to speak about today. I want to tell you a little bit about who Hydro is, go over some facts about water, and the problem that we're going to be trying to solve today, how screening can be a solution. We're going to go over how you actually maintain the screens, sizing and configuration. If you have a project that you think might be something you would want to try and use one of these dry screens on, you can send it in to us. And also giving away an Amazon gift card for drawing at the end of this for all attendees that take part in this. So a little bit about Hydro. We are in 33 different countries. We are over 200 employees strong. We've been around for over 30 years and experience in the BMP stormwater business. Thousands of separators and filters that are installed across the country and the world. We also have a world-class hydraulics laboratory. It's one of the largest manufactured owned in the country. So our capabilities, we are not only in just the stormwater management, we're also in water and wastewater treatment, flood protection, screening treatments, industrial water, monitoring, and resource management. So we have a lot of different things that we can bring to the table. As far as collaboration, we do collaborate with some of the universities around the country. Most of these universities actually have stormwater programs there. I personally have actually visited the Minnesota one with the St. Anthony Falls, and we also have one going on in Florida right now doing testing over at the University of Florida, where I am from. We also get our certification through the EPA and the DOTs in the different markets, so we're always out there trying to be part of the front runners and getting approvals with the different municipalities around the country. The different kind of treatments that we can address today, starting from the left, if you're going for some dissolved and a very small particle size, you're going to want to consider an outflow filter. If you're going with a little bit larger particle sizes, you're going to start going into the vortex units, the advanced vortex units, and the regular hydrodynamic vortex units to get out your fine solids and your coarse sands. And then when you're going into your gross solids, which is your trash and organic debris, you're going to look at the DryScreen. So a few facts about water. How many stormwater systems do you actually put in the ground every year? Most of these actually, let's do a poll on that and see how many you guys think you do every year. Did you know that most systems are in the ground for 30 years or more? So you guys should see a poll come up. Okay, the numbers are starting to come in already, and it looks like 1 to 5 seems to be, well, now it's changing, splitting between 1 to 5 and 5 to 10 seems to be the average going on here. Great, thanks. little technical difficulty with my fingers there. Okay, so curious little fact that 80% of the trash that's in the water actually originates on land. And in some areas of the US, like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Baltimore, they actually have a zero trash TMDL, which is total maximum daily load. So they want their engineers to actually capture things as small as a cigarette butt. So the trash problem out there is, well, what is it? It actually, inhibits our natural habitats. It degrades them. It also causes health problems and health threats. And as far as the economy, the almighty dollar, it actually costs millions of dollars to clean up for tourism on the shoreline communities. They spend millions of dollars cleaning up the beaches. So we need to actually address this. So if you put some money out there in advance, you're going to save some money in the end. The effects it has on the ecosystem is animals can mistake plastic as food and become entangled in it. They can become sick from it. It takes over 500 years for a plastic to decompose. This is an article I just read the other day, and this picture was taken just last month of the Caribbean, and that man is on a boat, in case you didn't realize that. He's actually driving through all that plastic and garbage floating. If that didn't scare you, just Google plastic in sea and lake water, and you can see the amount of images that actually appear. As far as, let's talk a little bit about the nutrient problem out there. Algae grows faster than an ecosystem usually can handle it, and it depletes the oxygen, and it causes the suffocation of the fish. It creates toxins. It creates havoc on the environmental. It also is an expense to try and clean up. It can cause you from getting very ill. You can experience nausea, diarrhea, and skin irritations if you actually swim in it. This is actually right down the street from where I live, and every year they have Lake Okeechobee dumps into the St. Lucie River. And as you can see, the man in the corner has to actually wear a gas mask when he's driving around at the end of the St. Lucie River. And the advisories showing that it is not healthy. So screening can be a solution. So here at Hydro, like I mentioned in the very beginning, we are in all sorts of different industries, the wastewater industry, and we know a lot about screens. So let's talk about the Baffle box. This is your usual Baffle box.
You can't see what this up so you can, okay, what are people seeing?
You can hang on a second. Hang on one moment, please. Just got to get the volume straightened out. Anyways, typical Baffle boxes. This is what they're like, and the first type is the one without the screen, and this is the one that most people usually know about. So, have you ever used a Baffle box on your project? It's a pretty quick poll, just answer yes or no. It looks like no seems to be winning at the moment. A couple people have considered it. Okay. So let's move forward. So next coming up is the Type 2 Baffle box. The EPA came up with the 3 baffles in the Baffle box because of the Panda study, where they showed that 2 baffles or 3 boxes inside there is the best way to collect sediment. Then came along the next generation Baffle box. It's now also known as a Type 2 Baffle box or a nutrient separating Baffle box. The difference between the two is your typical Baffle box has no screen. It only gets about almost 20% of the dissolved solids. It also gets about 0.5 nutrients and 2.8% of the phosphorus. Now with the second generation Baffle box, with the screen, you get 67.2 TSS removal, 19% nutrients, and 15.5 phosphorus. And this data is actually from the Florida DEP. I've looked around to see if I could find any other data on Baffle boxes and screens, but so far Florida has the most information on them because they use them the most. So applications that you would use them for, so we want to capture the trash, and we also want to try and capture the TSS runoff and your organic materials. So that's what the screen will do. We can use them in new construction. You can use them as a retrofit if you have a water body that's impaired. You can use them for shallow installations. And if you want to make sure you don't have any head loss, you can use them in regards to making sure that it still drains and you don't have a lot of head loss in them. So what makes a good screen? Well, you want to make sure that your screen size, that you're maximizing the size of the screen that you can fit in that box so that you have effective use of your screen. You want to make sure that your screen openings is the proper size to capture the debris that you're trying to capture, like in Baltimore and Los Angeles. You're going to have a smaller screen than you will in Florida. You want to make sure that the screen isn't made from a material that will leach something else into the system, into the body water that you're releasing out to. So you want to make sure that it's not going to release metals or other pollutants that could cause something else down the line. You want to make sure that the screen doesn't cause any ragging and that you have minimal head loss if blinding actually does occur. So screen size. The bigger the screen, the longer before you have to worry about blinding and the longer time you have in between cleanings. A even flow distribution, we've patented a flow separator so that when the flow comes in, it actually is split and moves along the outside of the vault walls, and it gives the water more residence time to settle out than when other options out there just go straight through and there's no time for it to settle out. You want to make sure for the blinding protection, you want to make sure that your orifice sizes can handle the water flow coming in. Even if it's blinded, it can still handle the flow flowing down through the screen at the bottom and also your screen at the end. You want to make sure that your screen is high enough so that when the storm does subside and the water does settle down and your flow stops, the water will actually drop down below the screen, allowing your organic debris to dry out and not break down and cause more nutrients in your water. You want to prevent the ragging, like we've mentioned before. You want to make sure that none of the debris is going to be sticking there and not being able to move off the screen. So let me show you a little bit how it works. Seeing is always a little easier than hearing about it. So as the storm event happens and your water starts to rise, your catch basin is capturing some of that debris and trash off the streets. It's running down the pipe into the system. You can watch the flow splitter actually splitting the flow and having the debris spread out across the screen. You have your back screen there actually holding it back so it doesn't. And then you will see your sediment actually falling down through the screen into those baffles. And it seems like the larger particles fall out first, and then they get a little bit smaller as you move down through it. The Pandit law is the longer it goes through, the more particles that fall out. So here's one that's actually in use, and as you can see, it actually is collecting all the debris. You can see some paint cans, soda cans in there, and you can also see some of the organic debris. You can also see the screen through the water in there. Now, if you notice, there's our flow splitter, and as the water comes in, you can see how the water is actually directed around there. And if you notice on the sidewalls, you can see where the storm event got up to, and now that it's slowing down, it's actually going down. So the water's starting to drop. And note up here, there was some pretty big storm events, and we've got some debris, and it looks like it's starting to get blinded. Well, real numbers are what we talk about here, so we know engineers want to see that. So we actually did 2 tests, one without any blinding going on, and one with 80% of the blinding going on. And if you notice from the graph, you can see that there is hardly any difference in the flow of the water going through the dry screen. And if you want to see what it looks like, if you notice, that screen is the same one that we just looked at that was blinded with debris, but because we have the right size orifices in our screen, and even with the debris against it, the water is still flowing through the screen. I think we have a So what's important to what's the most important reason to use one of these? Let's take a poll on that. So the numbers are starting to come in. Trash capture seems to be winning. A little bit of nutrient capture. While trash seems to be winning. So I think that's a good thing. This is a really good system for capturing trash. It does, like I said, capture the organic debris. So let's talk about sizing. So we actually have tools online that you can go to at our website and do sizing tools, and it will help you size these systems. You can also look at some of our literature that you can download online, and we can have sizing charts for a quick view if you'd like on a 4x8. If you have maximum treatment flow, which is 29 CFS going through that screen system, that would bring the water up to the top of the crest of that weird type screen, but not actually overflowing. If you want a typical treatment flow, that would be 11 CFS. So it's good to size between those two so that you know that you're capturing and not washing out any of your capture. We do have the sizing tool on our website. You can go in here and you can put in your project name. You can either pick from the chart, or you can enter in what your flow is, and it will actually tell you what your TSS removal will be and your pipe sizes. And if you move down here, you can actually put in your rim and your inverts, and it will generate a drawing for you that you can drop right into your drawings. Or you can actually hit submit and have one of our engineers take a look at it and see if it's sized correctly. These Baffle box, second generation Baffle box, work very well in the lid system, the LID systems. What's nice is you're capturing all that trash before it actually goes into your detention pond or into your bioswale. So it gives them a longer life. As far as installation goes, it installs like a vault. The product arrives pre-assembled, and if you need some on-site support, it is available if you just let us know. It's pretty basic though. As far as maintenance, let's talk about that because that's the next question everybody's going to ask. How easy are these to maintain? Well, they're pretty simple. They're maintained by a Vector truck. So the Vector truck comes in, you remove your 3 manhole covers, and you bring in the pipe and you clean off your screen. Once your screen's done, you open up your gates, remove the lockdowns, and then lift the screen up and clean out each department. Get that last one cleaned out, lock your screens, lock it back in place, and replace your pin on your back screen and put the cover back on. So there are many BMPs out there, and they all need to be maintained, whether it's a DryScreen, a vortex unit, detention systems, doesn't matter. They need to be maintained in order for them to work. And only a small percentage of them actually do get maintained. Some places, there's a place in Florida in Broward County that they actually give you violations. Here's one in Ohio that also has violations. I have a feeling moving forward somewhere down the line that there's going to be a lot more counties or cities adhering to the possibility of doing violations if you're not keeping up with your BMPs that you're installing in the ground. Most of the problem is out of sight, out of mind. So in saying that, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a pond, if it's a swale, you know, they all need to be maintained. We have a lot of experience in BMPs, so we actually do know how to maintain all the different kinds of BMPs that are out there. And with having so much knowledge in that, we do have connections with contractors around the country and who know the right way to clean a BMP, because you don't want, you know, just your average Joe who doesn't know anything what he's doing to show up, and he could actually damage your BMP so it wouldn't work correctly. If you have questions about it, we have a maintenance division here at our home office, and you can give Pasquale a call and talk to him about maintenance. And a lot of things that's really hard for us to get is if you know who which you should, your owner of the BMP, because it's not yours, it's not mine, it's going to be someone down the line who owns it. If you can get their information either to us or our information to them, so that we can let them know how they should and when they should actually take care of their BMPs. So in summary, you know, we talked about the flow distribution so that the screen surface has the maximum use and you get the water to slow down enough for the particles to drop out and the leaves to settle in. You want to make sure that the orifices in your screen are the right size so that you're capturing the right material, and you want to help that from the blinding to be prevented. You want to make sure that the screens are at the level where they will actually keep your leaves out of the wet sump. And you want to protect that from ragging so that it doesn't get all caught up in the screens at the ends. And when you have the larger screen that fills the whole box, you're going to have 4 times longer time in between maintenance than ones with smaller screens. So to win a gift card, you have to take the webinar survey to enter to win. Winners will be notified this week. Your PDHs will be emailed to you no later than November 20th. So just for, want to congratulate a couple of winners from the last two seminars. We have Kyle Sharp and we also have Doug Miller. Congratulations to you guys if you're actually on this webinar. I want to thank you, and please, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I will get some answers to you. I hope you have a great day and an outstanding weekend, and we'll chat soon.